Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, feeling hot and having difficulty going back to sleep? Wondering if you have too many blankets, so you kick off your blankets just to feel it's a little too cold? And it's not the blanket's fault. It's just you desiring something. Maybe it's the warm embrace of something or someone that you lacked that's causing you to think there's more to life than just having everything perfect. When I lived with my parents, I watched my friends and family slowly leave my social circle. I didn't think much about it until my closest friend decided to up and leave to build his own life. His decision invoked a deep critical thinking skill, something that I haven't used in a while because I never had to use it. Everything was going well in my life. I had everyone around me that I love, so I never had to think deep about anything. Until everything fell apart. After this experience, I received grace from my father. I moved out of my parents' home to start a new life. Everything was going great. I have a flat with 2 bedrooms, all for myself, 1 small room for my bed, and a bigger bedroom for my office. Feeling like an adult. No one to fight for the bathroom, kitchen for me to cook whenever. It was a blatant blessing. I was pleased to have my own place. Everything went as I wanted. I get to place my furniture anywhere I want it. I can eat dinner whenever I want. Can be as loud as I want without disturbing anyone. But somber. When most moments are quiet, everything became fragrantly loud. The refrigerator when the cooling system turns on, the static in the electronics, the scooters whizzing by my street, and even my own breathing was loud. I'm alone. 4 years ago, when I was with my newly single friend, he was constantly having a mental breakdown because he was worried about his future, thinking there was nothing for him. I laughed every time he had a mental boom because I was single for longer than he was and I was enjoying the bachelor life. I thought I was smarter than him because, well, I was more calm than him. Little do I know, he has the right idea the whole time. I've become more observative and noticed the sad souls that were struggling with loneliness. I was at a Safeway during Christmas and was standing in line while waiting for the cashier to process the groceries for this old man. The old man was putting up a hard smile with a slightly awkward and yet desperate tone. He was constantly giving the cashier words of gratitude like, "Thank you so much for working on Christmas. I'm happy to have people like you working hard in my life. I appreciate the sacrifice you made for the holidays." Despite his kind words, the cashier ignored him, didn't thought much about his feelings or words. I felt the secondhand pain he was going through and was stunned at the situation. It left me silent as well. I thought maybe this is why old people are so sweet. There are many reasons why old people struggle with loneliness. They just learn to adjust themselves to seem harmless and kind so they can maybe make a friend. So I started to think how they got to that stage in the first place. They may have been malicious their whole lives and deterred everyone around them. They may have friends that found new partners in their lives and left their circle of friends to join new ones. This is what I went through. Or everyone they knew and loved just died, and they're all that's left. Just a remnant of the past. Something that can also happen to me. These are plausible assumptions, so I started thinking about solutions to these problems. I jump the gun and think, kids. Having kids. Yes, I hate kids. So did many of my friends. But they left my circle to have them. But I guess kids are a good idea. If they're not stealing your credit card to buy video games or getting arrested. Sure, you can argue that having kids doesn't guarantee they'll be around when you're alone. As a matter of fact, recently, someone I knew that had two kids, a daughter and a son, was put into a retirement home because she couldn't take care of herself anymore. Ever since she moved in, her daughter has not visited her in 3 months. As for her son, he passed away before she did, which led to her crippling depression that resulted in her not being able to take care of herself. It is the cold reality of having kids, and I do agree with that point, but honestly, a shot is a shot. Just because there is a chance that your kids may not care about you, doesn't mean you should never have kids at all. Sure, it is a financial strain, but if you look around, you see people that are probably poorer than you having kids, and they are making it work. And at the end of the day or your lifetime, money really isn't that important anymore. It's much more better to be surrounded by people that you know and people that care about you. One of my close friends hated kids her whole life. I remember we used to make jokes about children suffering all the time or dropping babies to make them cry. And in just 1 month's time, she told me she was pregnant. She gave up her dreams to spend time shopping for baby stuff, and she's probably gonna be a full time mother. This came as a shock because she ended up doing something that she doesn't want to do. And I look at all my past relationships. I think the most successful relationships I've had, whether it's romantic relationship or familial relationships, the best one I've had were the ones where we endure hardship. Hardship is a good way to develop a nice, fulfilling, long-term relationship. Now I can see why there are so many single moms, or why couples have so many unplanned kids. They fear loneliness. Sure, your life becomes drastically harder, but looking at people struggle and the things they've built, I'd say it's worth it. When I think about successful relationships, I use my grandma as a reference. She took care of her kids and her grandchildren. She may be poor and she may not have a career. She's not a boss bitch, as many modern women fantasize about. Her life is yet so much more vibrant than anyone else in my family, and I'm envious of her. I've become envious of people that are happily in a relationship. Like my neighbor, he's a young man with a successful business and career. He kept his job because he just needed health insurance for himself and his family. And he works 30 hours a week, I think. And he spends majority of his time with his three kids. And he looks happy all around. Then I look at people like Asmongold and can't help but to feel sympathetic towards him, because his mother passed away and his father just passed away recently.
Been or will be in this situation, it could also help you guys too. Last week my mom passed away, and I'll be honest, I still can't come to terms with it. I still feel like every time I say it, I'm lying. Like, oh, well, she'll be back next week. Gosh, she's just on a trip. She'll be back. I'll go into her room before I go to bed, and I'll look for her to say goodnight to her and wake up and look in her chair where she would sit in and see if she's there. And
I want to talk a little bit about my dad. A lot of you guys probably already know, but earlier this week he passed away, and it was pretty traumatic, to say the least. And I was there with him the whole time. It was just me and him, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about it and explain kind of where I'm at.
On top of that, he's single, and judging by his mentality, it looks like he's gonna be single for a long time. You think a celebrity wouldn't have a problem finding a partner, but he seems to be struggling with that as well. I do wonder if he's feeling the effects of loneliness as hard as I pondered, like feeling depressed, laying in bed, thinking about relationships, and yearning for a new life. He's getting old and passing his peak. I'm sure it must have crossed his mind some way. There is also the community telling young men to embrace loneliness and how you should never date a girl because they're wasting your time when you should be grinding for that money. Here are some Marcus Aurelius quotes. Good luck! Here are some words of actual wisdom. Someone with some sense. You actually want to get in a relationship when you're broke. All the best relationships I've seen are the ones that can endure hardship with each other. Poverty is one of the most common ways to put your relationship to the test. So while you are still poor, you should get someone involved. Now, enough about other people. What about myself? I've changed. I've become more open-minded and stopped arguing with people over some ideals that don't really matter, like religion and political debates. After realizing this, I feel like, wow, all these topics are kind of dumb and kind of pointless to argue about. I used to work out 2 hours a day, now I just do 40 minutes and I'm more fit than I have ever been. I can actually recover for the next day to work out properly. I started using Instagram at the start of this year and regret not using it earlier, starting to learn how to make friends with strangers thanks to a few generous people. Reaching out to people I haven't talked to in a while. That was weird, but a good idea. There's also this strange connotation with social interaction that we shouldn't do anything and let things happen because it's natural and organic. Back then, I never initiated a conversation with anyone, but I took that for granted, and it's not until now I realized that my best relationships are the ones where people reached out to me. Letting things happen naturally is not just letting people guide a relationship towards you. It's also reacting to your social instinct and just say hi to people you see in your everyday life. I know, making friends with strangers might be weird, but since I adopted a friendlier mentality, I was able to make friends with my neighbors, my high school teacher that I just realized was my neighbor, a transgender, a lesbian, some girl that lives across the city that comes to my neighborhood. There's no magical quote to get you to be more open and more social with people. You're just gonna have to put yourself out there and let your guard down. But most importantly, be natural, be lax. Don't be afraid to sound crude. Don't try too hard. Give what you get.